From Australia, this is the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on WIA.org.au.
Yes, it certainly is the news, and it's for week commencing June 6, 2021. I'm Graham, VK1WIA in sunny Jimboomba. Thanks, Bruce. Now, last week we left WIA National News with these words from our secretary.
Good morning, Graham, and good morning, listeners. The Regulatory Liaison Committee met with the Australian Communications and Media Authority to discuss the proposed amateur radio licensing. The talks were very fruitful, and there will be a full report in next week's WIA National News.
So from our secretary last week to our Vice President this week.
Good morning from WIA Vice President Lee Moyle, VK3GK. The WIA Spectrum Strategy Committee met with the ACMA recently for some very important and exciting discussions on the new potential licensing arrangements for the amateur service. Grant Willis, VK5GR, gives a brief rundown on this week's WIA news. A more detailed release will be forthcoming via AR Magazine, the WIA website and Memnet. The WIA is looking for expressions of interest for the position of Intruder Watch Coordinator. Do you like listening around the ham bands for those signals that just shouldn't be there? Then this role may be for you, as Peter Young, VK3MV, who has been compiling and reporting as Intruder Watch Coordinator for many years, is stepping back. PubCom has a new secretary, Simon Rumble, who is doing a magnificent job. We thank Ian Godsall for his contribution until his retirement recently. PubCom is always looking for technical and non-technical articles for submission in Amateur Radio magazine for our members. Many of our readers would like to hear about your story or project. The PubCom team can help you draft your article if required. They are also looking for AR front cover photos too, so please send in some of your best photographs which may be considered for publication. In fact, PubCom are looking for a couple of sub-editors for different facets of the magazine. Just contact the AR editor Brian Clark via the WIA office email for more information. Have you worked the Air Force Special Event stations yet? AR Magazine had a feature story and the WIA is very proud to be associated with this special event. Now that VI100AF is QRT after a very successful activation by many operators all around the country, VK100AF continues until the end of August 2021. Thanks go to Stewie, VK8NSB, for his diligent efforts to keep all the activators on their toes and on air. Don't forget that the WIA special event call sign VK20HOME, VK20 Home, is still available for members to use until December 31st, 2021. Now that Victoria is enduring another lockdown period, it might make for some on-air activity for some VK3s or welcomed activity from other states also. Check the WIA website and special event pages to book your time slot for use. 7-3 is from Lee Moyle, VK3GK.
Hello. This is Grant, VK5GR, with news from the Wireless Institute of Australia's Spectrum Strategy Committee. The Wireless Institute of Australia met recently with relevant staff from the ACMA to discuss its public consultation process regarding the review of non-assigned amateur and outpost station regulatory arrangements. The aim of the meeting was to seek clarity on aspects of the ACMA's proposal that were unclear, to discuss specific areas of concern, and to understand the next steps in the process. The ACMA staff began by stating that they appreciated the detailed WIA submission and thanked us for the very thorough response. They reaffirmed the intention that the utility of the amateur licence will not be changed by this process, an important consideration raised in the WIA submission. In seeking to better understand the ACMA position, the WIA asked questions about class licensing and how interference management in particular would change, given statements in the ACMA's proposal. The ACMA staff indicated that they were fully aware of the importance of interference issues to the amateur community and explained that current interference management policies and processes would certainly remain, even if the amateur service transitioned to a class licence. Those responsibilities are set down separately in the Radio Communications Act and apply regardless of licence type. The WIA and the ACMA staff then went on to discuss various other matters, including the listing of amateur stations within the Register of Radio Communications Licences, call signs, reciprocal licensing, and the value, utility and uses that the RRL provides to the amateur service. This was fruitful and will lead to further discussions with ACMA in this area. The meeting also covered the topics of the ACMA's proposed amateur accredited persons scheme for managing repeater and beacon applications, and the need for supporting documentation to enable changes to how these will be handled. We also discussed the proposed amateur operator handbook. Interesting to see where that develops. Finally, the next steps in this consultation process were discussed. The ACMA staff advised that it is currently reviewing the submissions received to the public consultation. Once that review is complete, the submissions will be published by the ACMA. The ACMA also noted that the next update is likely during the third quarter of 2021. The WIA thanks the ACMA staff for the opportunity to discuss the issues of concern within the amateur community, and expressed its desire to hold follow-up meetings focusing on particular aspects of our submission and the proposed reform. Overall, the meeting was very positive and productive, and the WIA is looking forward to working with the ACMA further on these matters. That's all from us this week. Good morning all from Grant, VK5 Golf Radio for the WIA Spectrum Committee.
This is VK1WIA. All points of contacts from today's news stories are to be found in print when you read the web editions, www.wia.org.au.
Yes, it is the WIA National News, and your 3 Ws: wash your hands, wear your mask, watch your distance. But you won't need to do that if you're planning on going to the SERG convention at Mount Gambier. Why? Because the SERG convention, scheduled for June 12-13, has been postponed. John, VK5DJ, on behalf of the Southeast Radio Group, is sorry to advise that they have decided to postpone the convention. Further details later in this bulletin of news from your WIA, and they're available on serg.org.au.
This is the home service of the Wireless Institute of Australia through VK1WIA. Now, international news with Jason, VK2LAW.
Hi again, and it's time for the international news with thanks to IARU, RSGB, RAC, Southgate Amateur Radio Club, ARRL, NZART, EHAM, Amateur Radio Newsline, and the worldwide sources of the WIA. We begin with news from Region 1. Bahrain and Kyrgyzstan join IARU. The IARU member societies have voted to admit BARS, the Bahrain Amateur Radio Society, and the Amateur Radio Union of the Kyrgyz Republic, ARUKR, to membership. The IARU congratulated both ARUKR and BARS and welcomed them and their entire membership. BARS was founded in 2020 and is a legally registered, recognised entity representing the amateurs of Bahrain. 15 members out of a total of 88 licensed radio amateurs in the country are in the society. ARUKR was founded in 2013 and is again a legally registered recognised entity representing all amateurs of Kyrgyzstan. All 110 licensed amateurs in the country are members of ARUKR. 4 Uniform 29 Mike Alpha Yankee is on air from the United Nations Global Service Centre in Brindisi, Italy until June's end to celebrate International Day of UN Peacekeepers on May 29th. They hope that the 29 MAY suffix will be reminding us all of this day when tribute to more than 4,000 Blue Berets, UN police and civilian personnel who lost their lives while serving in field missions is paid. Their efforts are one of the most concrete expressions of the UN Charter's determination to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war. In Region 2, FCC considers UHF microwave handbands for commercial space launch frequencies. The FCC in April issued a report and order allocating spectrum in the 2200 to 2290 MHz range for private space travel and satellite launch companies to use for pre-launch testing and space launch operations. The order creates a non-federal secondary allocation for these uses in spectrum that's currently reserved exclusively for US federal government use. The action also includes a further notice which seeks comment on possible additional spectrum for private space launch purposes. Among the frequencies specifically mentioned are 420 to 430 MHz in the 70 cm amateur band and 5650 to 5925 MHz, which is the 5 cm ham band. Amateur radio has a secondary allocation in each of these bands, and the NPRM made no mention of the band's current occupants and or whether they would be displaced. IARU Region 2 Executive Committee quarterly meeting. This was held on May 26 via Zoom, with all officers and area directors in attendance, with the IARU Secretary and Region 2 Assistant to the Treasurer also present. President Ramon Santoyo, X-Ray Echo 1 Kilo Kilo, opened the meeting with a remembrance for Reynaldo Leandro, Yankee Victor 5 Alpha Mike Silent Key, immediate past president. He spoke of his long service to amateur radio in the Americas and his contribution as part of the IARU delegation at 3 World Radio Conferences. The traditional moment of silence was observed. It's now clear that all future general meetings and workshops will need to be planned as either virtual events or as hybrid events with attendance both in person and remotely. The Executive Committee concluded that it's too early to make any decisions about 2022 given the uncertain future of travel and infection controls throughout the world. And wrapping up international news from Region 3, Indonesian radio hams sign MOU with police. A memorandum of understanding between the East Nusa Tenggara Regional Police and radio amateurs of the region's Orari should lead to establishment of an amateur radio station to support the implementation of police duties and joint responsibilities. For WIA National News, in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
Now, operational news with Felix, VK4FUQ.
Hello there. Just ahead of our sports report comes news of Finland's SRAL 100th Anniversary Special Activity and Award. This will be a rare piece of wallpaper for We Down Under if you are diligent and lucky enough to achieve it. Contact 108 stations during 2021 and 10 specifically featured Finnish stations to earn the OH Northern Light 100-year certificate and the featured story explaining the magic of the OH land and the Northern Lights. Your 100 contacts should include 50 OH stations and 50 OF stations, a total of 100. A special OF prefix will be launched to all OH stations on September the 15th, 2021. 3 stations to check propagation to are OH2A. This is the SRAL HQ station in the capital, Helsinki. Rarely active internationally, but to honour their special year, you can catch it occasionally. OH100 SRAL. This is the official SRAL Centennial Jubilee station, which is circulating all year throughout Finland and is activated by SRAL member societies and special activity groups. OH6 SRAL. Every Saturday at 8 a.m. Ingham time, SRAL transmits its radio news to its entire membership. OH6 is in the middle of the country and has a long history of such transmissions. Their chief, Heikki, OH6ZS, has done those transmissions for more than 40 years. The second year of contest has been announced that will level the competitive playing field between the big guns and the little pistols who operate a portable station. Its name, as complicated as the contest itself, is so worth a crack as it is arguably the hardest to win. It's called the Fox // Mike / Hotel / Portable / Operations / Challenge /
What you doing?
Feeding the chickens.
Well, are you going to take the challenge?
Yep, I plan to. You?
I'm thinking about it. What about the big guns? Think they'll win?
They didn't last year, but then they didn't show up either.
Is that why you're feeding the chickens now?
Yep. Champions are never afraid of competition. Will you take the challenge? See foxmikehotel.com/challenge.
VK Shires, June 12 and 13, and yes, that is next weekend. NZ Straight Key Night, 8 to 9 p.m. ZL time, Sunday, 13 June. Winter VHF UHF Field Days, June 26-27. IAR UHF World Championship, July 10-11. DX Window, month of June. Pride Radio Group are on the air once again with special event call sign VI 2021 Pride during Pride Month, 1st to 30th of June. The RAF is flying high to celebrate its 100 years on March 31, VK100 until the 31st of August. VI50SG is QRV until December 31, commemorating 50 years of the St George Amateur Radio Society, New South Wales. OC166. A team of operators will be active as JB1JYL-7 from Sabuku Island between June the 10th and 11th on the various HF bands using SSB and FT8. Sabuku is an island in the Sunda Strait between Java and Sumatra. Spanish special event. AM5IP, which has been on the air all week, goes silent from today, June the 6th. A special QSL commemorating this the 170th anniversary of the birth of Isaac Peral, Spanish scientist, sailor and military man, lieutenant in the Navy and inventor of the first torpedo submarine, known as the Peral submarine. Operations will be on all bands and modes including DMR, D-Star and C4FM, to give non-HF operators the opportunity to get the special QSL. QSL via station EA5CP direct, but QSLs will be sent automatically via the Bureau. Online Radio Club, England, G. Special call signs GB1ORC is on the air till the 20th of June, and GB0ARC until the 24th of June, celebrating the first anniversary of the online amateur radio community. M0OUK www.oarc.uk/ is an online club affiliated with the British Society, the RSGB. 4U29 May is on the air from the UN Global Service Centre in Brindisi, Italy, until June's end to celebrate International Day of UN Peacekeepers, May 29. Yes runs a month from the suffix date of May 29. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Felix, VK4FU Queuingham.
This is the home service of the Wireless Institute of Australia through VK1WIA. Now, special interest group news with Bruce, VK3FFF.
Hello. Worldwide Special Interest Group News. Final Frontier. Spain's National Radio Society reports the launch of ESAT-2 and Hades satellites have suffered another delay due to the American Aviation Administration rejecting the license to the integrator Momenta Space. The reasons for the rejection stem from the American agency saying the national security of the United States could be endangered. The next launch opportunity could come in December. ESAT-2 and Hades were to have been launched in January this year aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, but the Momentus license was also rejected at the time. Canadian researchers concern about overcrowded orbits. A new report by 2 Canadian researchers is highlighting the growing hazard of space debris. It warns that the new mega constellation of tens of thousands of communications satellites could pose a new kind of danger that could ultimately threaten other satellites, astronauts, our ability to use space, and could even have an impact on the climate. Recently, an uncontrolled fall from space of a large Chinese rocket booster gained worldwide attention as no one could predict where it would come crashing to Earth. Fortunately, it came down in the Indian Ocean and no one was injured. That was just one booster. But the amount of stuff, satellites, discarded boosters and other debris in Earth orbit is huge, and this new report warns that with projects like the SpaceX Starlink satellite constellation, the issue of space debris could approach a critical turning point. Worldwide special interest groups, IOTA. EU 055. LA4C from Foy Island will be calling CQ IOTA contest during the RSGB IOTA contest July 24 and 25th. QSL via LA4C direct by the Bureau or LOTW. EU 088 OZ ON6QR from Laso Island in the Kattegat IOTA group, Denmark, will also be on air during the RSGB IOTA contest. Again, that's July 24th and 25th. QSL via ON6QR. Worldwide Special Interest Group, Maritime. In the same tradition as POTA, SOTA and IOTA, now there's BOTA, that is, Boats on the Air, an activation that its organisers hope will set sail as an activity worldwide. The inaugural Boats on the Air casts off this weekend, Saturday, June 5th, USA Dateline, and operators from the San Francisco Amateur Radio Club will be activating watercraft of all kinds. Chasers and activators will be on the air for 3 hours beginning 2000 UTC. A boat is considered to be activated if it completes 4 QSOs. The event website says, join us to activate any moving floating object on any body of water. In short, that means the boat can be powered by motor, by sail, even by human effort, or, well, use your imagination. In other words, whatever floats your boat. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Medical. What's in a name? The Bravehearts. The Bangalore Mirror newspaper reports how Indian radio amateurs have been working out of the command centre in Hebel to ensure that there are no glitches in crematoria for COVID patients. This amateur radio op operators had played a major role during the first wave of the pandemic. They had assisted citizens' quarantine squads to track down quarantine violators. During the second, too, their voluntary services have helped in managing cremations. Yes, what's in a name? Bravehearts these operators are indeed. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Radio Amateur Old-Timers. Now to the voice from the West that brings us the latest and greatest.
Hello everyone, this is Clive, VK6CSW, reminding you that tomorrow is the first Monday of the month. Time for the Radio Amateurs Old Timers Club of Australia's June Bulletin to go to air. As usual, we have the latest club news, after which Ian, VK3JS, has some follow-up information on last month's story about the World War II Joan Eleanor Secure VHF espionage communications system. Next, Ian tells us about car exhaust exposure and mental health, after which Bruce, VK3UV, has an item entitled Calling Mrs. Boy, the only female Australian coast watcher in World War II. Everyone, RAOTC members and non-members alike, is most welcome to listen to the programme and to join in the callbacks afterwards. The monthly RAOTC bulletin is transmitted on a wide range of frequencies and modes, including UHF and VHF FM, HF SSB, D-Star, digital mobile radio and Echolink. Full details of all transmission times and modes can be found on the RAOTC website at www.raotc.org.au or just Google RAOTC broadcasts. If none of the transmission times suit you, you can download the audio file at any time from today from the RAOTC website. If you do listen this way, brief feedback comment would be appreciated. Members and friends of the RAOTC in Perth are reminded that the next lunchtime meeting at the Bayswater Hotel is on Tuesday, June the 8th, just 2 days away, and you'll be pleased to know that the buffet is back on. 7-3 from Clive, VK6CSW.
Thanks. Once again, tune in tomorrow for the June RAOTC Bulletin and don't forget to join in the callbacks afterwards. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Rescue Radio. Indiana hams mobilise in search for young boy. This story, thanks to Amateur Radio Newsline, is a report with an account of amateur radio responsiveness in a human drama that turned to tragedy.
A sweeping search for a missing 12-year-old boy with autism, which ended with the discovery of his body in the Little Calumet River. Members of the Amateur Radio Association of Newton County, Indiana, were among the hundreds of volunteers aiding the search for Kyron Carter. Club President Mike Swader, KA9E, told Newsline that the Hams provided VHF digital communications and GPS for the Northwest Indiana's Canine Search and Rescue teams, serving as their communications branch. Working inside the association's mobile communications unit, the Hams logged coordinates from the teams while they were deployed, providing digital tracking to help create a search map. Meanwhile, other searchers were deployed on foot, on horseback, by helicopter, and by boat, and were joined by the FBI and police from Indiana and nearby Illinois.
May 24th, the body of the little boy was found in the river and dive teams pulled him out. Worldwide special interest groups, YOTA. KD8YVJ wins ARDC scholarship. Congratulations to Amateur Radio Newsline's Young Ham of the Year for 2020, Chris Brault, KD8YVJ. The ARRL has now announced that he was among the more than 200 deserving winners of scholarships through the ARRL Foundation. Chris is the recipient of a $10,000 Amateur Radio Digital Communications Scholarship and as such will be attending St. Louis University with a major in aeronautics and a minor in computer science. He's also weeks away from earning his private pilot licence. Well done, Chris. Well done, ARRL, and a big well done to Amateur Radio Newsline for your ongoing commitment to your Young Ham of the Year. SRAL hold webinar for young people. Finland's Amateur Radio Society, the SRAL, recognises the importance of attracting young people to amateur radio and, as a part of their promotional work on June 10th, SRAL will hold a webinar on Finnish youth activities. It's in the form of a webinar to encourage young people to join our radio amateur hobby. The association's marketing team, in cooperation with SRAL's youth team, have organised this webinar on youth activities in Finland for all those interested in youth activities in amateur radio activities, especially young people and clubs. I'm Bruce, VK3FFF from sunny Bendigo.
On the 2021 social scene, then, we're out of here. Remember, due to the COVID-19 situation, please check Events Direct for up-to-date status information, and even without COVID, dates have an uncanny knack of being changed at last moment. So it's one on, one off. The one that's on, VK2, the Oxley Region Amateur Radio Club Field Day at Warhope Showground, this coming Saturday and Sunday, 12 and 13 of June, during New South Wales Queen's Birthday long weekend. Yes, that's next weekend. All the usual field day activities, including fox hunting and a homebrew display. The field day dinner will be held at the Port Macquarie Golf Club on the Saturday night. And remember, 2021 marks the 50th anniversary of the Oxley Region Amateur Radio Club. Please go along to the field day and enjoy the hospitality of the Oxley Region Amateur Radio Club. You and your family will be made most welcome. Warhope Showgrounds also permit camping, so it is possible to stay on site in your own motorhome, caravan or tent with power and amenities. But, and you've only got a week to do it, book ahead. The one that's off, VK5, the SERG Convention at Mount Gambier, scheduled also for June 12 and 13, has been postponed. John VK5DJ, on behalf of the South East Radio Group, is sorry to advise they have decided to postpone the convention. The COVID situation in VK3 means it would not be safe to continue. The convention committee are planning to hold the event later in the year when the situation is clearer and safer. Further details available on the SERG website, www.serg.org.au. Now till next we meet, I'm Graham, VK4BB. May all your hang-ups be drip dry.
From Australia, This has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.